The 5 most important things you need to look at when running an algae refugium. We obviously run an algae refugium in the Triton method, and it's bringing you a lot of benefits when you run it as your main filter, but you need to do it right. So the first thing is never let it overheat. So it should always be 24 to 26 degrees. That's the optimum temperature also for your reef aquarium, but never let it go over 30, 31, 32, right? So 32 is really the maximum, so I would always try to keep it under 30, and otherwise you will possibly have the die off of the algae, and that's kind of a really bad thing for your aquarium because it causes chain reactions, and yeah, it's kind of not beneficial at all anymore, right? So when you're running an algae refugium in a hot place like in Cairns, always make sure you have a cooling system and look out that it's always kind of functioning and working, especially when it gets hotter, so you will never run into this issue, right? The second thing is you should always put a little bit of live rock into that chamber, into that refugium, and that's because algae like to kind of attach to something, right? A lot of them kind of attach to rocks or to gravel. I do not really like that version of, you know, a floating ball that turns around. I'm sure you have maybe seen it online, you know, a chaetomorpha floating around and getting light. I do not really like that version. You can do it, but I do not really like it. I really like the version with the rock more. And there's it's leading to the third important thing that you need to look at is never force a specific species of algae to grow in that refugium. So you can't really, you know, tell which one should grow. You shouldn't do that. You better leave it to the aquarium, to the algae, because algae, they adapt to specific environments. So some of them are kind of growing in areas where there's a high amount of phosphate, some of them high amount of nitrate, some of them likes everything high, some of them like everything low. So you know that the type kind of will be determined by your environmental water, so by your aquarium water. If you have a lot of fish that eat a lot, you will have another algae grown in your algae refugium, and you need to leave it there. This would be the dominant version of algae grown there. Don't force it to be another type because you like the other type more, right? So the live rock that you have in there, the piece of live rock, is actually you know, allowing you to have different types of algae, because it brings all the little pieces of algae that is maybe, you know, out of in the reef into your filter, and they will possibly grow out there and overgrow the other one that you put in there first. So it's kind of a very natural process that you should let go and don't touch, right? The fourth thing is actually not to put any fish in there. Don't put too many fish or you know, other critters in there that you can buy, not big stuff, because they will actually eat the little stuff, and the little stuff is, you know, the little critters that are grown in there are actually food for your corals too. So that's the Triton method. The Triton method actually creates food for your corals in the display tank. And if you take that away because you have all the fish swimming in there eating it beforehand, not beneficial. I wouldn't do it. It's kind of getting a bit dirty too, because, you know, all the stuff that cleans up will be eaten possibly. So I wouldn't do it. You need to feed the algae refugium, then just don't do it. Leave it there. It's for the algae, right? And the fifth most important thing is do not forget to harvest the algae, right? So sometimes, you know, people just think, oh, I'll leave it in there and it's fine, but you need to harvest it from time to time. Sometimes if you have like a, you know, very like high metabolic kind of reef aquarium, which you have a lot of fish, a lot of coral, everything is growing crazy like my aquarium, you need to harvest it pretty often because it will grow really fast too, right? And what you do is you just cut pieces out of it and then, you know, give it to other people, other reef keepers that just want to try, or at the end you just dump it. Sometimes I'll use it as food for my surgeonfish, for example. They loved it. For my nasos, for example. But you obviously can't feed everything, right? So you dump it away, you'll have the rest of it, and it will grow back, and that's what you want, right? You need to look at, you know, pieces that die off. That's why you do the harvesting. So sometimes they die off on the top, you know, they grow out and there's like on a surface. That's fine. You can harvest that, but it's actually not too bad. Which is the worst one is the ones when they touch the glass. So that's a very unnatural situation. In the ocean, they will never touch anything like any glass or something. So when that happens, it kind of, they squish themselves and then you end up with the die-off, and that's something you need to inhibit. So you don't want it to grow too close to the glass, right? And actually that's it. There's not more to it. If you have any questions, write them down here. Give me a thumbs up and we will see you in the next video. Take care.